So let's talk about some of the criticisms, if you will, not of this program in particular, but just the concept, right? So, I'm sure you are too on social media. I'm in plenty of real estate and mortgage kind of groups, if you will, and I've seen dual licensing come up, and some people really. I have my answer to this, so I'm curious yours. A lot of people really shun the idea because they're like, look, the reality is that being a real estate agent is a full-time job, and being a loan officer is a full-time job. So, stay in your lane, right? Why would you try to, do both? You're not going to do both very well. Like all of this kind of speak around this. And I want to get your take on that because you've talked to so many real estate agents about this. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people kind of gave you initially that as a reason why they're not interested. It's like, look, I work hard enough doing what I'm doing now. Like, I don't need to do mortgages as well. I'm not looking to be a loan officer, etc. And I think you and I both know that that's not really the point here. And that's what we're trying to illustrate on this conversation. But what are your thoughts on how do you address that major objection, or even just that thought process, which I think a lot of mortgage and real estate people both hold that thought process today and don't even want to look at the concept as a result of that?
100%. We used to get a lot of pushback in the very beginning, and I think it's because the dual license has been around for a very long time. Like California has been people hold their license in both for as long as I can remember, like running across agents that did both. But the difference is they full time or like a broker or something in mortgage, and then they also do a little real estate, and it is a little bit different because there's a lot more time commitment. And I think the pushback and the rub sometimes with the agent side is that how can you be excellent at both? Right. And I knew that coming in too. We wanted to keep our reals, which real stands for real estate loan specialist, just so you know, I don't think we hit that earlier. We want to keep them in the lane of real estate, but still be compliant with what we need to do on the side of the loan side to have zero speculation that we're operating in compliance. And so we have built this program to make sure we do check off the levels of compliance that we need to do as the real estate loan specialist before we bring in our loan partner that helps do a lot of the heavy duty, time consuming things, right? So the two working together create all the boxes of compliance that need to be checked without really muddling down the agent in what full-time like processing and all of that they would need to do. It's divided, the work is divided by the two parties, which makes it a lot easier of a burden for the agent to do what the agent needs to do on the loan side and still operate as a full functioning real estate agent.
Right. And the reality is that a loan officer's job is to source their leads, right? Well, in this case, the real estate agent is sourcing the lead. They already have the lead. They have the lead every time. So they're marking that box. But that's not enough in and of itself, right? When you speak about the compliance, they have to take an application for that borrower. So when we're compensating a licensed MLO, mortgage loan originator, that's the license they hold. So there is origination activity that they need to do, all of which they probably have a lot of that information already because they need it in order to do an intake form on the real estate side as well, right? So a lot of what they're doing is just information they would have already. There's a few other things that they need to do, but the reality is it's not a full-time job. Now, there is some additional work, but it's also work that I would argue brings you closer to your client, has you better understand their financial situation, which you are representing them in this transaction. So to have that knowledge definitely empowers you as their real estate agent. And when it comes to the heavy lifting of the next 30 days of escrow, all the follow-up and, the appraisal and all this stuff that has to happen, that's being handled by your loan partner, who is internal working in one of our branches. And so my argument, I guess,
seeing all that in real time. We don't even have to call that loan officer and say, hey, did you order the appraisal? Hey, did this come? like we see it. Like it
Yeah.
just it's amazing to be able to like have all that transparency just right there in our fingertips that we're not even sweating because we're seeing the process unfold.
Yeah, and I guess my point is if someone says, "Oh, well, look, those are both full-time jobs and I'm not interested in doing those," I would say then you clearly don't understand the program. You don't understand what the opportunity here is and the other benefits to it. Not just to make you a better agent, better informed, but to your point earlier, Kathy, which I think is the key to everything that we do as mortgage or real estate professionals is we're serving our clients better in that we can help them understand the process. That's the other thing. Like, keep in mind, some loan officers speak very loan officer-y, right? They're just maybe not, they don't have the same relationship. I mean, how would they? Think about how much time an agent spends with a buyer looking at, 12 houses over, multiple different weekends. I mean, they have a deep relationship. So for them to be able to legally and compliantly confer with their client about what's going on with their mortgage transaction, like, how does that not bring value to the situation? I mean,
100%. And dual licensing isn't necessarily about making more money. Like to me, that's like the cherry on top. It's really about reducing the risk of your client losing money or being in harm's way with liability. Like that is the crux of it for me. And then, oh yeah, we get to be compensated as well. So I just think now that I've done it this way, to me, it feels archaic to go backwards and have it be so separated because it really is truly flying the plane with a blindfold on as the agent, and there's just so much responsibility that's put on us. And we all have PTSD of it feeling like a deal blew up and the loan officer is kind of like, yeah, sorry, man, like we tried everything. We just didn't know that they had this going on. Da, da, da. It's like, sorry. And they just kind of like bow out. And we're like
right.
left hyperventilating with, oh my gosh, there is so much that we've got to deal with now that is not pleasant. And so this fixes that to me. It just there, it's just a superior way of doing business.